Please be seated. I want to welcome all of you this morning. On behalf of the family, it's so nice when you can celebrate something with someone, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, a bat mitzvah. Nice to be with the family. But today is when they really need you. And today is when your presence is so, so much appreciated. And there are times when we're not really sure what to say and what words to use. And so in our tradition, it is the words of the 23rd Psalm that we chant. Why the 23rd Psalm? Those psalmists. We have 150 psalms in our Bible. And the 23rd in particular is so optimistic. It's a reputation we're not always pleased to have, to be optimistic. But we are optimistic, as were the psalmists. And their glass was always half full, a little bit like Lila's. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me beside still waters. You restore my soul. Nafshi shoveh yancheni mavle tzedek leman shemo gam kelech begetz al mavet lo ira rak yatai madi shivtecha umishantecha hemay nachamuni taroch lefanai shulchan neged sorerai v'shavta v'shemen roshi kosi revaya ach tov chesed yedfuni kol yemei chayai v'shavti bevet Adonai leorech yamim. If you're lost, you feel afraid, and you don't know what to say, then listen, listen to our God. Is there a question on your mind? Is the answer hard to find? Then listen, listen to our God. Listen with all your heart and soul and with all your mind. Write them and learn them and teach them well every morning and night. Close your eyes and listen. Quiet yourself, there's nothing to say. Stop all the chatter that gets in the way and listen. Listen to our God. When the wind and thunder finally disappear, there's still a voice that you can hear if you listen. Listen to our God. You can hear it from the top of the highest hill or from the valley below. It can come from the edge of the universe. It can come from within your soul. Close your eyes and listen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Listen, listen to our God. Listen, listen to our God. 97 years, 4 months, and 1 day. Okay, I need you to fasten your seatbelts. Because I think it was Robert who said, when you live that long, you have a lot of descendants. Robert and Julie, Sarah Rose, Jessica Alice, Francis, Ori Bernard, Kenny and Eileen, Erica, Mike, Leah Rose, Justin, Jack, Aiden, Max, and Julian. Lila's great-great-grandchild, I think that was a picture of her with him at the end, whom she got to meet. A great-great-grandchild. Oh. Amanda and Neil, Ben and Megan, Alyssa and Jessica, Lenny and Marilyn, Rebecca, David, William. Nephews, Stephen and Margaret, Leah Rose, and James, William, Emmy, and Olivia and Hannah, Robert and Norma, Rebecca and Rachel, Jamie and Andrea, Josh and Sadie, Ronan and Ami Ariella, and Rose. Richard, Reuben, and Mike, and Kummel, and Eli. Cousins, Philip and Hannah, Larry, Beverly, Paul, and Marcia, Bob and Lynn, Ross and Emma, Alex and Kate, Michelle and, it's unbelievable, Michelle and Joe, Marissa and Chelsea, and Theo. And we have the Israeli contingent, Yoram and Nava, and their children, Tali and Shalom, Gal, Oren, Amit, and Roni, Eli and Maya, Yali, Ben and Adam, Dan and Ma'ayan, Noah, Yonatan, Avi, Tamar, and Shlomo. What an unbelievable legacy your parents created. Strong, powerful, and so numerous. And Lila was the glue that held them together. And all those roses in the list, anybody named Rose, that was for Grandma Rose, Lila's mom, and you'll hear a little bit about her in a moment. Lila was born on April 2nd, 1928, in Newark, New Jersey. She had a sister, Edith, and not such a happy childhood. She did make it through high school and worked as a secretary when she graduated from high school. And she was part of the Civil Air Patrol, which was extremely unusual for a woman in those years. But when she told her father that she wanted to go to college, he slapped her. He needed her to go to work. He needed her to help support the family. She married Mr. Bernard on January 29th, 1950. They met on Bradley Beach, where all the Jewish kids went to meet, and Lila became a stay-at-home mom. She was a good mom. Bernard was, however, like a quasi-disciplinarian, because by the time he got home from work, he was just too tired to enforce any kind of discipline. She went back to work in 1968, and she went into business with her mother, Grandma Rose. No, it was Rosie, not Rose. They started in Newark, but moved out to Short Hills, and it was a dress shop. Lila was the front of the house, and Rosie was a really good seamstress and made sure that she made all those clothes fit. It was upscale, no schmatas. They were upscale clothes for upscale women. And then they opened a second store across the street for sportswear. Lila realized her girlhood dream and bought her first convertible. Lila loved convertibles. She loved putting the top down. She always owned a convertible until she gave up her car keys at the ripe old age of 92. Eventually, they did close the second store and consolidated, and then Rosie retired and moved to Florida. Lila continued working and did a lot of work in retail in big jobs where she would travel to other cities. She developed leadership skills, and she became the president of the Sisterhood of Temple Bethel in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and was very involved for many years. She had great skills, but not such great self-esteem, which I think was very common for women of those times. She was very smart, but somewhat stifled. Lila and Mr. Bernard moved to Florida in 1983. Where did that come from, Mr. Bernard? What is that? Oh, it was sorry. It was just him, Lenny said. Okay. And in 1985, she started working. I guess she couldn't be around the house too much. She started working as a paralegal in Robert's law office and was in that position, that very same position at that same desk until she retired at the age of 90. What a woman. What a woman. But these are just the words I've heard. Now we're going to hear it from those who knew her best. First Robert, and then Kenny, and then Lenny.
Thank you. You're welcome. First, I want to say welcome to all of you. Wow, there's a lot of people here. Thank you all for coming. On behalf of the family, I welcome you. I'm the oldest of Lila's three sons. I could say that I've known her the longest, but that's not true because cousin Phil Hannipole is here. Hi, there you are. And he was born about 4.5 years before me. He's Lila's kid cousin, and he lives here in Florida now. And thank you for being here, Phil. So I'm an estate planning and probate lawyer, and I've done probably about 6,000 estate plans. So you get to meet a lot of people, and you get to see a lot of family situations. And it's extremely unusual for someone to leave a bequest in their will or their trust to a son-in-law or a daughter-in-law. Once in a great while, someone will come in and say, I want to leave something to that daughter-in-law of mine. She's just like a daughter to me. And I'm like, that's wonderful. But it's like a needle in a haystack. But Lila was the needle in that haystack. Because in 1969, our great uncle, Uncle Bill, drafted a will, and he didn't have any kids, so he left a trust for his nephew, my dad, and a couple of nieces, and only my mother, a niece-in-law, I guess you call her, was named as a beneficiary, an income beneficiary. And that was because of the way that she always treated Uncle Bill. She was always warm and welcoming. She treated him just like another dad. And so she became the needle in the haystack. And he wrote this in 1969. And in 2023, when Bernard passed away, now she becomes a beneficiary all those years later. So I want to talk about two things, because Cantor-Ann said you got 5 minutes, and then I'm hooking you out. So two things I want to talk about. Two things I want to talk about. When we were kids, growing up in Union, New Jersey, a suburb of Newark, our parents came from Newark, there were music teachers who went door to door selling accordion lessons. And at the ripe old age of 7, my mom signed me up for accordion lessons. I don't remember if she ever asked me if I wanted to do it. She just signed me up for accordion lessons. But I took to it like a fish to water, and she drove me to lessons for years. I think I probably took lessons till I was about 11 or something like that. And it just started me on a path of making music a very important part of my life. So much so that I took up the piano at age 14. At that age, I started playing in bands. I remember the first gig I ever had was the 1967 inauguration of the new Buicks at the Buick dealership in town. And then I played in bands, and we played weddings, bar mitzvahs, dances, the Catskills, all kinds of things like that. I did that through college and law school, and she set me on this path of loving music, and I still make music today. And another thing that she did for me was that she joined the Columbia Record Club. Now, so those of you of a certain age will remember the Columbia Record Club. So the young people, I'll explain to you what it is. You signed up and they sent you 6 or 8 records for free. You know, these are the long-playing vinyl records, and then LPs, and then they would send you another one every month with a bill, and you had to write a check and send the money back to them. But you got a catalog, you could pick what you wanted. So Lila picked basically the Great American Songbook. Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, Peggy Lee, a very young woman named Barbra Streisand. And I probably listened to those records more than she did. I just took to them, I was listening to them all the time. And when we were in the car, she used to play a radio station called WNEW in New York, which played the same music. So as a result of that, I became steeped in the Great American Songbook. The Gershwins, Rodgers and Hart, Cole Porter, all these, Vernon Duke, all these guys. Little did I know at the time that Irving Berlin was the partner of our great-great-uncle, Sam Harris. Found out about that later. As a result of that, when I started playing music and playing all these gigs, and we had fake books, I knew all the songs. So, thank you, Mom. The second thing I want to talk about is NFL football. Lila, for many years, was what we call a football widow. Our dad was busy watching the New York Giants on TV every Sunday afternoon, and Lila would be left to fend for herself. So she was a football widow for, I don't know, about 30 years. And then they moved to Florida, and there was an incredible event that occurred. It was December 2nd, 1985. And I remember it very well because that was my birthday. And there was a big game. The Chicago Bears were coming in town to play the Miami Dolphins on Monday night. And it was almost like a Super Bowl because the Bears would go on to win the Super Bowl, and they were trying to have a perfect season. But the Dolphins said, no, you're not going to have a perfect season. So Lila and Bernie went with us. We went to the Orange Bowl. It was Monday night, which in those days Monday night was a very big deal with Howard Cosell and all those guys. And all the 1973 Dolphins were on the sidelines putting a jinx and a hex on the Bears. And Dan Marino threw 4 touchdown passes in the first half, and we went berserk, Lila along with us. On that night, she became a football fan. That was it for her. After that, she would watch games when we would go to the game, she'd sit home and watch it on TV by herself. She was a real fan. One other thing happened about 5 years later, 1990, January of 1990, there was a playoff game between the Dolphins and the Chiefs. And it was the Dolphins were ahead 17-16, and the Chiefs were about to set up for, at the last second, a field goal to win the game, 19-17. But they missed the field goal. Then the game was over, we won. 70,000 people went berserk. There was pandemonium in the stadium. Lila was there, we were there, and it was the most amazing moment. Nobody left the stadium. Everybody started dancing. They played Kool and the Gang, Celebrate, and everybody just stood there swaying to the music and high-fiving strangers. Lila was among them. She was high-fiving strangers. She was singing, she was dancing. It was just an incredible moment. And so, as she got older, she would call me and say, "Hey, is there a game this Sunday?" And I would say, "Yeah, there's a game this Sunday, Sunday night, Monday night, even Thursday night." She said, "Well, okay, what channel is it on?" Okay. So I just want to say one more thing, Mom. The Dolphins start their season against Indianapolis on Sunday, September 7th, and it's on CBS. Okay? Thanks, Mom.
Hello all. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kenny. I am the representative of the Kleinman, North Jersey contingent from whence all Kleinman sprung. I'm going to talk very, very briefly in deference to Cantor Ann. I have nothing written down, but I'm going to talk about legacy. When Grandma Rosie was around, she was very fond of saying, "I'm a millionaire without money," because she had enough grandchildren at the time to make a basketball team. Well, taking into account inflation, in Lila's case, $500 million maybe at this point, and enough kids to form a football team. Offensive line and defensive line, I'm thinking. So towards the end, my tradition was every day I would leave work at 4:30, pretty much on the dot, and I would call Lila on my drive home. It was a 10-minute drive. 10 minutes was long enough of a conversation, Monday through Friday, to talk to Lila, and the conversation basically revolved around the food, the service in the dining room, and the food. And every time we would launch into the diatribe about how terrible the food was, with the exception of the lamb chops, I would try and remind her of her legacy. And it went the course basically of what Cantor Ann reminded us all of the volume of people that she has surrounding her that love her and adore her. And it runs the gamut. And I kept telling her, "Hey, listen, everybody's got a job, everybody's got health benefits, nobody's in jail. And we're good. But look at the group that's been assembled that sprung from Lila. Doctors, lawyers, healthcare professionals, teachers, computer experts. The list goes on and on and on. And a very good portion of that group are dedicated to public service, which I think is tremendous. Can't do any better than that. And pretty much after Lila and I would have that conversation about what she's got, and in essence what she's leaving behind, good job, Mom. Thank you.
It's 5 minutes. No, I'm not going to be funny, I promise. Okay. I have, I don't know, about 7 or 8 anecdotes. I'll limit it to, not that one. All right. Just gonna get. Everyone, thanks for coming. Welcome to Lila's final soiree. For those of you who do not know me, I am the youngest of Lila's 3 kids. My name is officially Leonard Jack Kleinman, but I am colloquially referred to as Lenny, Lumpy, Lumper, Lump, the Lump, Lenny Lump, Lumpy Lenny, my personal favorite, Uncle Lenny, Uncle Lumpy Lenny, and of course, many different permutations thereof. As you all know, since you're all sitting here, Miss Lila has recently passed, and she will be missed. But geez, she was old. I mean, come on. She was a child of the Great Depression, on the home front during World War II, the subsequent Cold War, the space race, Vietnam, the 70s? It's exhausting thinking about it. However, in this setting, I need to bring the historical perspective much closer to home, specifically to the Kleinman's Men's Club and its wholly owned subsidiary, the Kleinman Men's Club Ladies Auxiliary. Okay, for those of you who missed Mr. Bernard's soiree, the Kleinman Men's Club was created to support the wishes and desires of the Kleinman men in their pursuit of watching and enjoying football, specifically Miami Dolphins football. The Ladies Auxiliary was formed as an adjunct to facilitate the feeding of the Kleinman men in their pursuit of watching and enjoying football. Now, just to make it clear, the KMC, Kleinman Men's Club, is not an organization full of misogynists. The president of the KMC is a woman, and the president of the KMCLA is a man. Miss Lila, after starting as a lowly member of the KMCLA, as Robert said, she was a football widow, therefore she could not be a member of the men's club, was eventually inducted as a full member of the KMC upon having shown her devotion, in 1985, to football, which is the key component of membership to those not members by right of birth. That's a little bit of a historical thing going on there about who has membership automatically, and we're not going to go into that. Okay. Birthright, well, yeah, but you know, there's always an exception to the rule. However, we have a problem. Upon the death of Mr. Bernard, who was the patriarch of the clan, and he was also the original maker and keeper of the Book of Special Rules. The said Book of Special Rules was delivered to Miss Lila, which transfer, by the way, happened in this very room from this very podium. Note that the keeper of the Book of Special Rules has great power in making rules, which under most circumstances cannot be overruled by the membership unless the rule goes against the KMC Constitution. And again, I'm not going there. The problem is that Miss Lila kind of forgot to make a rule about succession, or at least I have been unable to find any indication of a rule. This means that the membership must vote to determine the next keeper, this being the keeper of the Book of Special Rules. There is also another slight problem. Upon her ascension to keeper, Miss Lila handed the book to me for safekeeping. I, of course, put it into a very, very special hiding place, which right now is slightly forgotten. It's not missing, it's just misplaced a little. However, the rules themselves were appropriately digitized, and of course, true to form, that file is also missing. However, I hear the clock ticking. However, upon my standing as the VP Pro Tem for life of the KMC, VP Pro Tem for life, that's me. I hereby call a special meeting of the KMC and the KMCLA to order And I'm going to call the roll of members. If you hear your name, please either stand or raise your hand or let me know by some bodily noise that you are present. KMC, Bernard Kleinman. No, he's here. He's here. Martha Pollock. She's here too. Lila Kleinman. Here. Robert Kleinman. Kenneth Kleinman. Leonard Kleinman. Erica Beth Kleinman. She's on Zoom. She's not here. David Kleinman. William Kleinman. Jack Kleinman. He's not here. Aiden Kleinman. He's here. Ben Kleinman. Not here. Okay, Julian Kleinman. Max Kleinman. Ori Bernard Kleinman. No? Okay, members of the Ladies Auxiliary. The President for Life, Alan Pollock. Marilyn Kleinman. Rebecca Kleinman. Eileen Kleinman. Amanda Kleinman. Alyssa Kleinman. Megan Kleinman. Julia Kleinman. Sarah Kleinman. Jessica Kleinman. Leah Kleinman. Okay, special honorary members of the Ladies Auxiliary. Bob Crystal Kleinman. Lynn Crystal Kleinman. Ross Crystal Kleinman. Emma Crystal Kleinman. Alex Crystal Kleinman. Kate Crystal Kleinman. And Francis Boncalis Kleinman. I believe we have a quorum. The chair hereby makes a motion to postpone this meeting until Cantor Ann says we can go eat. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, the motion is carried. We are therefore adjourned till later. On a personal note, specifically regarding the feeding of the KMC by the KMCLA, now that the matriarch is no longer active in the kitchen, one or more of you must now step up to fill preparation of the official KMC brisket. This is personal, because after all, the KMC cut its teeth with post-game meetings at the Rascal House, where a hot corned beef and pastrami sandwich, or a hot open roast beef with gravy, or chicken in a pot, or brisket with gravy, or turkey with gravy, or kishka with gravy, or anything with gravy, garlic sour pickles, tubs of slaw and cucumber salad, and of course, because we're Jews, coffee and cake, were all voraciously enjoyed, hopefully to celebrate a great win, but to otherwise console a terrible loss. And this is where we came together as family and friends to enjoy each other and to share our experiences. Rest in peace, Mom. We'll see you at the next meeting. Thank you.
I think Lila would be proud. I have nothing to say. Nothing. I will tell you that anyone who would like is invited to join them, to join the immediate family at the grave site. And then everyone is invited to come back here for the meal of consolation in this building. Any donations in Lila's memory may be made to Trustbridge Hospice Care in West Palm Beach. I often feel, wrote Rabbi Joshua Liebman, that death is not the enemy of life, but rather its friend. For it is the knowledge that our years are limited which makes them so precious. It is the truth that time is lent to us, which makes us at our best look upon our years as a trust, handed into our temporary keeping. We're like children, privileged to spend a day in a great park filled with gardens and playgrounds. And then for each one of us, the moment comes when the great nurse death takes us by the hand and quietly says, "It's time to go home. Night is coming. It's your bedtime, child of earth. Come, you're tired. Lie down at last in the quiet nursery of nature and sleep. The day is gone. Stars shine in the canopy of eternity." I'd like to ask you all, if you are able to, please rise as we pray for the perfect rest of Lila's soul. And I'm sure that there is no one who doubts that Lila's soul is perfectly at rest. El male rachamim, shechein bamromim, haמצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה. עם קדושים וטהורים גזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת ליבה רבקה בת דוד שהלכה לעולמה. בעל הרחמים יסתיריה בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה, אדוני ונחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Lila, who has entered eternity. God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. In a moment, we're all going to let the mourners pass. Again, you are welcome to join us at the gravesite, or you may elect to stay here and meet us as we come back.
Family and friends, this does conclude chapel portions of services. We'll be going to the Garden of Veteran. That's in the same grounds of Star of David. I'm going to kindly ask everyone to stay where you're standing, allow the casket to go first, followed by the immediate family and all other friends. You may go directly to your cars and follow the hearse in procession. Thank you.
Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. You make me lie